This is God's big, beautiful plan for your faith, family, and freedom. Let's open our Bibles to 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16. And as you do so, check this out. At creation, God had a plan. He didn't create Adam to somehow, like Superman, go it alone. God didn't create a village, tribe, or a whole civilization either. Instead, he created one man and then one woman. So writes Hermina Dixhorn in an article called True Lies and How to Combat Them. She goes on to say that this, he then placed them in a lifelong fruitful relationship, giving them a well thought out mandate for how to live and prosper. It says something about God and about the order of his creation. God created the family as the one system that would develop the created universe. Ever since creation, she explains, men have either despised or affirmed God's created order or affirmed it as far as and flourished, or they have ignored it or have attempted to destroy or replace it. None of these attempts, however, have ultimately succeeded. But she explains that totalitarian governments, and so any history buff, astute observer of the 20th century, can completely see this loud and clear. She says that totalitarian governments cannot allow anything to rival the state in the hearts and minds of citizens. And she explains in this article how in Rod Dreher's New York Times bestseller, the book called Live Not by Lies, and perhaps you're familiar with the well-known essay written by that Christian dissident. He was a Soviet dissident. He was a dissident against the Soviet Union, rather. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He wrote this essay called "Live Not by Lies" before they exiled him. And so Rod Dreher, in a book titled accordingly, but also the subtitle explains it's a manual for Christian dissidents. He says that she explains that he highlights the roles faith and family played in maintaining truth and allowing Christians and all freedom-loving people to survive the totalitarian regimes that tried to destroy both of these institutions in the 20th century. And so, for example, Dreher goes on to explain the importance for Christians to not take life in stride, as it were, and he emphasizes the importance for families to regard family life in a much more focused and serious way, and that we should stop taking family life for granted and instead approaching it in a much more thoughtful and disciplined way. And he emphasizes that we must intentionally be countercultural in our approach to family dynamics, because he says that merely going to church, and he says we cannot live as all other families live, except that we go to church on Sunday, holding the correct theological beliefs and having the right intentions, will not be enough.